Hi, and welcome to the video. I am Sam, and this is Sam Stacks, a channel where I talk about books, nostalgia, pop culture, media, and things that I generally find interesting, and I think you might too. So today we're talking about the new song Labor by Paris Paloma. If you're not familiar with the topic of today's video, I'm talking about the song Labor, which was released just this year. The song took TikTok, or at least my TikTok, by storm. I was hearing this song sound so much that I was curious to hear the entire song. This was maybe a month and a half ago, so I went searching on my Spotify for it and I realized that it hadn't even been released yet. So the song and the music video came out on March 23rd of 2023. The song narrates a woman, or really kind of all women's frustration with misogynistic, subtly abusive, and manipulative men who take advantage of a woman's work around the home and in their lives. And this song, and particularly the music video, covers one woman's character's awakening to this reality and her decision to try to get herself away from this situation. She's come to realize that all of this, the man in the video, his success and accomplishments are built off of her labor that she's done within the home. And that allows him to have the time and resources to go out and have this very successful life. So there's an excellent Billboard article that I'll link in my sources for this video that talks about the development of this song. After reading this article and listening to the song many, many times, it reminded me of something that I've come across a lot in my schooling and just general academic feminist literature. Particularly, there's this quote in the article where Paloma talks about her songs, The Fruits, which is an earlier song, and this song Labor, saying, "They're about the same thing. Putting too much labor into a relationship when you're not having it returned," she explains. "And how common of an experience that is for women because of the way that we've been programmed to view heterosexual relationship dynamics. And it's so normalized." And I think this is especially visible in the lyrics that I'm going to be focusing on today. I'm going to read them to you. I'm not going to sing them for you. I'm sure you are devastated. But the lyrics that I'll be focusing on are: "Apologies for my tongue, but never yours. Busy lapping from flowing cup and stabbing with your fork. I know you're a smart man. And weaponize the false incompetence. It's dominance under a guise. If we had a daughter, I'd watch her and could not save her. The emotional torture from the head of your high table. She'd do what you taught her. She'd meet the same cruel fate. So now I've got to run so I can undo this mistake. At least I've got to try." And so I saw two things going on in this particular excerpt of the lyrics, particularly the line "weaponize the false incompetence" in the section about having a daughter and seeing her follow the same fate as the woman speaking through the song. This brought me back to a gender and anthropology class that I took in undergrad. One of the topics that we talked about was what's called the patriarchal bargain. And then digging into some more pop press online articles, I also am going to be talking about the concept of weaponized incompetence. So for this video, I'm going to be using Paloma's song Labor as a vehicle for discussing what those terms are and how they take place in our world and what feminists generally have to say about them. Denise Candiati's foundational work, Bargaining with Gender, was published in 1988 in the Journal of Gender and Society. In the article, Candiati explains that patriarchy in general is a concept that's been heavily studied by feminists, by sociologists and anthropologists, and it's pretty well understood from a general framework. She proposes that different variations of patriarchy exist and need to be examined. So within the scope of the article, Candiati looks at the way that patriarchy presents itself in the Middle East, South Asia, East Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. She asserts that this spectrum of patriarchy also includes a spectrum of expectations for women's labor on behalf of men. In this article, Candiotti focuses on classic patriarchy, which she defines as a system where girls are given away in marriage at a very young age into households headed by their husband's father. There, they are subordinate not only to all men, but also to the more senior women, especially their mother-in-law. Basically, it's a reinforcement of the patriarchy's way of organizing people and ranking people. The senior man, the oldest man, is always at the top of this pyramid, followed by other men based off of age and status. A woman's husband is always ranked above her, but so are other older female family members, particularly her mother-in-law in this situation. This most likely girl in the situation is subservient to all of these people. She may be assigned to do household tasks, make money, to support family members, do chores that are very labor intensive, and other things under the pressure of these older, more established female household members. There's a twist to it though, because if you think about it, her mother-in-law was once in the same situation that she currently is in. Women in these situations understandably put up with this system because of the promise that one day they'll have their own daughters-in-law to do this work for them, whether it's household work or making income or just finding money to put into the family's bank account. In the system, women earn more value by having sons. So this allows them to have those future daughter-in-laws that will move in with them. This is a form of like literal security because it's also you're being surrounded by related men that reduces the risk of financial and material vulnerability. However, this all hinges on that early trauma of being turned over by your parents to your husband's household and then having to do the same with all of your daughters too. So back to labor, the narrator of the song has this realization. She's woken up to this system and she realizes that if she has a daughter, she doesn't have the power to save her from ending up in a life of servitude to her husband like she has. The narrator's decided though that she needs to try to escape and remove herself from the situation to save this potential future daughter from having to do the same things that she has. While classic patriarchy is uncommon in Western societies, weaponized incompetence is far from scarce. Weaponized incompetence is basically pretending that you don't know how to do something or pretending that you don't notice that something needs to be done in order to have another person do that task. It shows up everywhere once you learn what it is. You see it all the time. I remember talking about this in a women's studies class when it came up in discussion, and we were thinking of examples where this happens. Like there was somebody who pretended that she didn't know how to start a lawnmower so that her boyfriend always had to mow the lawn. Or someone else thinking about an instance where somebody might pretend that they don't know how to do the dishes correctly so that they always make somebody else in their household do the dishes. I'll admit that I've used it in my own life. One example I can think of is I've pretended not to know how to use an Android phone because I didn't want to help an older family member like do something on their phone that I was sure that they would forget how to do within a matter of time and then be coming to me to ask for help again, and I just didn't want to be annoyed by that. I know it's not great, but I'm sure we can all think of an example of where we've done that at least once. Weaponized incompetence, though, becomes a deeply negative thing when it becomes used over and over and over again within a relationship. It's one thing to pretend not to know how to use a lawnmower, but it's another when you pretend not to know how to use a lawnmower, a washer, a dryer, an oven, and a dishwasher, making somebody else have to pick up all of those chores on your behalf. Within relationships, particularly marriages and domestic partnerships, The abuse of weaponized incompetence results in uneven power dynamics where one person has to do all of the household labor, where the other person feels fine to just sit back and pretend that they don't notice that anything's going on and that they should step in and help the person who is now stuck with doing all of the chores. The weaponizer may only notice that a chore hasn't been done when it directly inconveniences them, and then they will probably grumble about having to do it themselves, leading to further emotional manipulation of the partner who's already doing all of the work around the house. Back to the song, Paloma calls out the intelligence behind this manipulation, saying that the man in the story is quote-unquote smart with his false incompetence. He knows what he's doing and he doesn't feel remorse for it. He's fine with her doing all of the labor because it allows him the freedom to do whatever else he wants. Again, I'll link to some sources on weaponized incompetence in my running source list for this video. Overall, I absolutely love this song. It's a 10 out of 10 feminist rage banger. I encourage you to go listen to it on Spotify. Go watch the music video. I'll put a link to it in the description. Let me know what you think of my analysis, and like and subscribe if you want to hear more of this kind of content. And I will see you next time. Bye!